before we started, we were kind of touching base, and you guys are ahead of me because I have not watched a minute of COBRA KAI yet. I've heard all the praise and all the love. Mags was basically all but like virtually trying to hold me down to watch it because she's all about it. But
Yeah, get onto it, Pops, please.
you guys are heaping the praise on COBRA KAI, so let's throw it out there. AJ, what is it about COBRA KAI for you that's just like this show is just top notch?
Well, I haven't seen the original Karate Kids, like not all the way through, and it's not really ingrained in my mind. It's probably was on the TV as I was younger, but I want to say just the absurdity of the show, the continuation of a movie sequel, and now I like the idea of expanded universes in a way, especially if they don't disrespect the characters that came before. Um, but that the story is it's not so far out there to where anybody can't pick it up. It's just a fun ride, a good experience, some martial arts, some action, and yeah, you grow with the characters. It makes you care about the older characters, especially when they have like the flashbacks, or as a character walks in and then the dramatic music plays. You're like, oh my goodness, like what is this emotion I'm supposed to be feeling right now? Like who is this person? So when I'm done with COBRA KAI, I will go back and watch the old movies because I don't know, this show just makes me care.
So you have not watched them at all, or you've only caught like pieces or things like that?
I caught pieces of the later ones. I know for sure I've seen the first one, but I do think that I was just so young, and it was just nothing that I really cared about. And that's not against the movie. I was just always like really into animation. So if I saw something that was live action, unless it kind of was just all the way out there, like how wild the concept of it was, I just didn't stick with me.
Hmm. That's fascinating because that was actually a topic of discussion on Loki's show when they were heaping some praise on COBRA KAI. They were asking if someone who's never watched the movies would enjoy the show, and you're proof positive that's true. That's awesome. So,
Oh yeah, and I understand how important these characters are to a lot of people. So, I like how even though I'm not involved in a particular fandom, I like to see fans of that franchise enjoy it, speculate, have those good, passionate conversations. So yeah, I appreciate this show for allowing me an entry point into that world and to be able to be involved in those conversations now.
Megs, you've watched the OG Karate Kid, so I know you've got a love and a passion that's going on there.
Well, I mean, of course, the first one has always been, uh, one of my favorite things of my childhood growing up. That movie I've seen. I think I remember seeing the second one. I haven't seen any of the others after that as much as the first one because the first one was always on the recorded VHS tape of my grandmother's, and we would just like rewind and do the rewinder, separate rewinder, and then have to put it right back into the VCR to watch it again. I mean, it never got old. So I love the concept with the show that you always hear about Johnny Lawrence was the quote unquote enemy in, the original movie. But at the same time, all of these characters, they have so much depth. They have so much development as well in terms of their, being able to communicate, get past their faults, get past any kind of miscommunications. I mean, it feels like actually like what we always talk about in some of these other shows like Disney, Marvel, and everything else. It's like these writers are not writing like human beings in COBRA KAI. They're actually being written as human beings. People do have, we all have had flaws and issues with others in the past, and we all have to face those fears and be able to get over them. And not only that, but what is good and evil in this kind of universe, and trying to figure that out. And then you have I would call it more like a B plot into the show. It's not really, it is part of the main plot, but it's kind of another plot into the show where it's for a younger generation of kids trying to figure life out on their own. But it's not copying and pasting the original COBRA KAI. It's something completely and utterly different in today's modern world. And they tackle all kinds of, and I'm not using this term lightly, but they tackle all kinds of diverse topics. It's just amazing how they've been able to have it interwoven concept with these stories from people from all kinds of walks of life. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you came from. Everybody has some sort of struggle. So it's really fascinating to me, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And, of course you have the karate. So, I mean, you get the action-packed scenes.
It seems like the show has not only managed to, but surpassed what these shows towards this audience has been made for, like all of CW, right? So you go back to even like a Riverdale and things like that, where you have this, there's legacy elements to it, but there's also stuff written for a younger audience. A lot of interpersonal relationships and real life problems are surfacing. Yet this show seems like it's so superior to a lot of these other things that have been created. Do you, you feel like that's pretty accurate? I mean, AJ, it's worked for you. You didn't even have a context of what you were getting yourself into in a lot of ways. You probably just heard it was good.
Yeah, for sure. Like Max was speaking on, like the layers of drama. You have the adult drama that's going on. That's it references the older movies, but it's like, okay, what are the consequences of all those things that's happening? Where are those kids that we grew up with to see become karate champions or involved in that story, now to see them in adulthood, and how that rivalry of theirs, and again, consequences, led them to where they are, and how that impacts the younger generation. So you have the adult drama, and then you have the teen drama. And I personally love teen dramas. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's taking you back in high school, feeling like, I could have done some things differently, or been the jock instead of a nerd or something. What is that life like? But it hints at that. But another thing the show does well is tells all these layers of story from the perspectives of, I don't want to say a lot of different characters, but a few, like enough characters in addition to the OG characters. And it's still not too much. It's not like a whole lot of just dogpiling you with information and lore and, instances and whatnot. I don't know. It's done well.
No, Moss, thanks you, man, for hopping in here and saying hey to us. We appreciate it so much. Even though you say you can't stay long, we still love you, man. Hang in there. Jacob Ironside popping in. Hey there, my brother. Thanks for hanging out with us, talking Cobra Kai. And Max, I think he's just basically elaborating on what you were saying too, where they did such a great job of threading this one main story plot with adults. They're bringing up kids. That's another story plot. What I hear is also how well they manage the real life drama. Like, it's a karate show, yes, but they're talking about like marital problems, dealing with their kids. Kids are having relationship issues, but it doesn't seem like it ever derails the show. We don't end up with like these massive, I don't know, subplots or story arcs that just make you not interested and want to give it all up. That's kind of what they've hit the nail on their head.
I think so. And sorry to cut you off there for a moment, but it's fascinating because as I don't like to, like, when I left, when I graduated high school and graduated college, I didn't want to go back to that. Like, some people like to live in that mindset of, high school, college, and that's fine. But for me, I'm just like, I'm going to leave that in the past. But this show hits it in a different way where it's like, yes, I have felt that way before. And it's kind of like watching these characters being able to weave these complicated issues, or, kind of not really weave, but kind of navigate through those complicated issues of the teenage years. And then you have adults who are dealing with their own issues where, you root for somebody. It's like, you're almost there. You almost got it there, buddy. It's okay. You can have that communication with that person, or, you don't have to fight, or you don't have to think that way. But one thing about this last season, a lot of things got wrapped up as far as some of the drama. And I'm not going to say with whom, because obviously it's far more complicated and has far more depth than I can explain it. And AJ understands where I'm coming from with that. But I love the way it wrapped everything up, where you could see the maturity and the development of everybody. And it just seems, it's so satisfying, because you always watch some of these other shows, and nothing is satisfied. Not really any good payoffs. There's always these MacGuffins or these whatever mystery boxes or what have you. In this show, you get satisfied. You get payoffs. I mean, it could be something completely minor, but then it's like, oh, that's awesome. They did the thing. It's like, it's stuff like that. So it definitely keeps you on your toes. I felt like in season 3, it felt like it was lingering a little bit too much into the, teen drama too much. But I think in a way with having season 5, it definitely pays that off quite well. I mean, I know maybe that is a little bit slow for me, in my opinion, as far as season 3, but they didn't keep going at it and going around in a circle with it. They actually really completed. I felt like in some cases, some of the development arcs for some characters, but of course, we don't know. I don't know. Is there going to be a 6th or 7th season? AJ, do you know of any information on that?
It hasn't been confirmed. Everything is still kind of up in the air from what I heard. Guys, speaking a little bit is this a series finale? You think we're going to carry on? Or just sort of like it can work? It can work either way.
Yeah, from what I heard, I haven't done any research myself, but I heard that it was written to be like open ended, to where if they did get another season, they could continue on and it makes sense, as opposed to just making up something later on. So yeah, that's my answer to that. It doesn't have to be a finale, I don't think. Now at some point it could be too much. There's a such thing as, like, I guess, overkill, and like, oh man, you should have ended this a long time ago. And to your point, Mags, of how you think season 3 kind of lingered on too long, I can understand how a season kind of lingered somewhere or didn't give you the hype that you had on the previous season. But I do think, as a complete, if you look at Cobra Kai just as like a complete series, if it does decide to end here or keep going, I do think once you get like the full box set, you'll appreciate it. You'll want to go on with that story. But yeah, so does that answer your question, Pops?
No, I think so. I think you guys are selling me on it. I literally just I'm not averse. I am not trying to avoid the show. For any of you that are watching this, you're gonna start blowing me up.
Yeah, you are, Pops.
It is a time management issue. I'm in the middle of another Indian cinema film, and for those of you that don't know, these freaking movies are like 3 hours long, so it's a lot. You're watching subtitles, so you can't really. I'll look away and do some stuff. I'm listening, but then I realize I've gone 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm like, I really don't know what's happened. I have to start again.
So Pops, when you
do something you can do, yeah.
When you do watch Cobra Kai, I do suggest, and I think AJ can back me up on this. You can't just watch one episode. You have to finish. There are 10 episodes per season.
Everybody says I have to watch at least the first 3, and then I'll be hooked.
Yeah, you're going to have to really set down time, because you're going to want to go to the next episode immediately. So.
But that's a want to, not a need to, correct? That's like the Stranger Things effect for me. Like when I saw...
No, I think want is greater than need in this instance.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that was a Stranger Things effect. When I got to season 4, I was like, I don't know. And I was immediately hooked. And I was like, okay, I want to watch more. I wanted to watch more. It wasn't just because, I hear it's good. I'll get to the good when I get there. You know what I mean? It's not like that. So that's what I hear about Cobra. Castle came in here. Hey to Castle. Thanks for hanging out, my friend. All right. Well, that seems like our Cobra Kai thing. It's at the top of everyone's recommend list. We start with that. I'm the odd man out here where I don't really watch it. So we'll let Mags turn the tide, because she's seen something I know I have less interest in seeing, because you're enduring Ring of Power for some reason. And
Pops, can I contribute or talk about the last one before we move on?
Yes.
Because you compared it to Stranger Things, I do think Stranger Things was so far out there to where it kind of failed me in living up to what they set me up for. Because unlike Cobra Kai, with their lingering season, it still contributes to the story. Whereas with Stranger Things, you'll have things happen that really don't contribute to where we ended up with the final season. So I think everything that you see in Cobra Kai contributes to something. It invests you in that world. And again, the world is not so far out there. It's not so fantastical. Everything is right here in this little city or neighborhood. Karate rules all. For the most part, we do go somewhere in this season, but again, it's adding to the story. So yeah, I think great payoffs in this one world, like a contained story. I Yeah, I think Cobra Kai does that way better than Stranger Things. Not to directly compare them, but since you brought it up and you actually liking it, I do think you should give Cobra Kai a try. And yeah, you'll be hooked. It'll make you want to get up and move and go punch a
We can talk
punching
about
bag or
Cobra Kai a little bit more.
something.
No, what is so other than the typical main cast of Cobra Kai, like Johnny Lawrence, LaRusso, and then you have Kreese and Silver, the main core, the people that have been there since the beginning. What of the other characters who's your favorite?
So outside of the ones that you've given me, I want to say Hawk. Hawk is probably my favorite character. I'll say my favorite teen, I'll say Hawk. As far as adult, I want to say Terry Silver. I know he's kind of a main guy and he was in the original movies, but just because of that true villain, like I compare everything to Lion King somehow, but he feels like a Scar to me. Truly conniving. He's thinking multiple steps ahead. He's real smooth, so you like him. You can see how you can like him as a person, but when he reveals his like true intent, his true insidious nature, then you're like, man, I hate you. But you kind of smooth at the same time, though.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's great too because they have written his character to be a really conniving, smart villain.
Yeah,
and we that is what's lacking in a lot of these shows is that good. I mean, I know it's a very oxymoron thing to say, but a good villain, like somebody who you want to. I mean, you like the character because you despise the character. It's just.
And
So,
and you love the intelligence about them, not just some dumb villain that's, oh, my plan failed, oh, I'll catch you next time, or I'll get you next time. Then it's like, no, you're along with the steps of the plan and everything that happens, especially with Terry Silver. It's like, is this a part of his plan? How does Silver feel about this? Did that information get past him? So just all of that speculation going on around those characters. But Hawk, to focus on the children, the teens, because of Hawk's transformation, and that was another point I wanted to talk to Pops about, but it's kind of like we're talking about House of Dragons later. But Game of Thrones, how it shows you like nobody is truly a good guy or a bad guy. Some people are pretty despicable, but everybody has to make decisions to make sure that they survive, they get a win, and this show does that with the children. And Hawk is definitely one of those characters to see his journey to go from being lip to this this karate all-star champion or whatever.
right.
To see that in him, the mohawk.
I love
loved it.
I love how his character too. He's awkward, doesn't know how to have confidence. Then he gains confidence, but it's kind of like looking at a spectrum of things. He goes from one end to the other so quickly, and he doesn't know how to tone it down or to really turn it on when it really needs to be done. I feel like he's finally finding his balance and how to handle it. And I like his character too. One of my favorite characters, AJ, is Robbie. I have loved watching his development in terms of he's not loved by his father, kind of abandoned and isolated and being a criminal himself, and trying to work out through his problems and thinking he's doing the right thing, but this this last season, or this, the latest season, I have loved his character development, where he's understanding of Miguel and Miguel's hatred towards him. So without it revealing too much, I love the I don't know how to describe this. I love the when the two have to figure things out scene.
Okay, that scene. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah. I will say
seems
that
like a typical guy thing to kind of hash
and
out.
We was always waiting, like, okay, when is this gonna happen so we can get past this? But yes, without spoiling anything, I will say I love Johnny's how do I say this? I thought I had it together. I like to see, you don't see father-son relationships a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
To see mistakes being made, but a person trying to make up for them. That's something that I really appreciated about this. And again, like kind of talking about how it references the old stuff. Again, I didn't know Johnny Lawrence back in the original Karate Kid, but how he was set up as the villain. But now it's like, you get to see everything surrounding that. And it's like, okay, well, was he really a villain? I'll just say that. So yeah, to see the wins that he gains throughout the seasons, and again the character building and the evolution of all of the characters, period, not just specific ones. That's not just the main characters, the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, it says a lot to know that AJ didn't watch the movies, and he's out there pumping the show up like this much. I think it's just great. I really, really do. So I will gladly hear all the wonderful things you guys are discussing. No, it's great. Listen, like I said, not averse to watching it.